androids in space, and mind-bending arcade shooters, it is time for our April gaming check-in. Let's talk about it. Hello there everybody, and welcome to The Comfy Spot. My name is Tyler, and today we're going to be doing another installment of this series on the channel, Gaming Check-In. This is the series where I talk about the games that I have been playing over the past month, be them old games or new games. Whatever games that I've really been sinking my time into over the past month are the games that I'm going to be talking about in this video, in this series. And now we are doing our April video, and this month I have 3 games to talk about. One of them squeaked in just at the last minute. I only put like 2 hours or so into it, but I still want to talk about it in this video because it's a really cool game. I didn't want it to just be 2 games that I only talked about in this video. I wanted to have a third one in there. It's the third one. I managed to squeeze it on in there at the last minute. But in this video, we're going to be talking about number 1, Pragmata, number 2, Tamashika, and number 3, Death Stranding 2. Yes, we'll be rounding out my Death Stranding 2 playthrough because I finally finished the game, but we'll talk about that at the end of the video. Let's start off this episode of Gaming Check-In by talking about the big new release of April up until this point of the recording this video, that being Pragmata. This is the new IP, new sci-fi IP coming from Capcom, and man, if you know, I did a video on the channel a couple months ago, more like maybe 6 months ago actually, shortly after New York Comic Con, where I played a demo of Pragmata there, and I did an impressions video of it on the channel. If you didn't see that video, you know, hopefully you did. If you didn't, I'll talk about it more here. But I enjoyed the game when I played the demo back then, had a really good time with it, and it really raised my excitement for Pragmata, because at the time I was looking forward to it, but I was still just like, I gotta wait and see, play the demo, and I was like, actually guys, this game has the juice, there's something special here. And after many other people played the demo, you know, after it was made public, many other people were saying the same thing, and I'm so glad that the full game lives up to the hype. Now, when it comes to the story of Pragmata, I'll say the story is fairly simple. It's fairly bare bones. It doesn't do anything really new or refreshing, and that's not a bad thing. Not every story in a game has to be some new groundbreaking revolutionary thing. Sometimes a story could be as simple and bare bones and straightforward as, you know, possible, even kind of generic as possible, but it can be just, you know, entertaining to say the least, and still, you know, do some fun things with it. And that's kind of what I got from the story here at Pragmata. You know, you play as this guy Hugh, you go into a space station on the moon, there's a rogue AI that takes over the space station, you gotta stop it, try to get back to Earth, and you end up working with a friendly android named Diana, that's a little girl that's with you, and you know, she's your real, like, she's your a key companion for you. Without her, you really wouldn't be getting through this at all. And because she is basically a child, you know, her and Hugh, they naturally grow closer to each other throughout the story. She learns about being human and dreams of experiencing, you know, the human, like, real world things that we experience on the Earth. She dreams of experiencing those things herself, kind of like a real, like, you know, Pinocchio, oh man, I wish I was a real boy type thing. So like, on all those notes, like, the story really is like, all right, you know, nothing too original, nothing too new and all, but I have to say again, one, the story itself was entertaining enough. You know, the moment to moment, beat for beat bits of the plot were entertaining. I was, you know, I was along for the ride. I wasn't like bored out of my mind or just like, oh my gosh this, oh my gosh that, like I was with like Lost Soul Aside last year. I was along for the ride with this one 100%. It also helps that the relationship between Hugh and Diana is so good. I loved their relationship. It was absolutely palpable and had me so quickly invested in it from very early on in the game. Actually, like when they first meet, they have a nice meet cute moment and all, and then you get to the first level, and then you all are in this tram heading to this shelter, and it's there where they actually, like, all right, have a proper introduction with one another and all. And Hugh gives Diana her name, and she does this thing where she's like, Hugh, Diana. She's like, like, you know, like establishing his name and her name and who they are and everything, and it's so cute and charming. And then she gets out the tram and she just like jumps on down, it's like a super gleeful kid. It was utterly adorable. I was so invested in their relationship from that moment on. And Diana, again, because she's this AI who she is smart, she is very smart, she knows quite a bit, but there's, you know, the whole, oh, I want to be a real human type thing going on. And she's learning about humanity from Hugh and what it means to be human things that she doesn't necessarily have an understanding for, like you know, like how you can feed your soul and your heart through conversations with other people and stuff. Like that's the thing where she's just like, wait, you all get nutrition through talking? What? Oh my gosh, that's so cool. And it's adorable. It's adorable for her, and how she learns about Hugh and his past a bit, through how he was adopted and all, and what it was like for him to not have a family, but not have a real family in the way that she is accustomed to thinking of what a family is. You know, it was very, very cute. I love their relationship. It was so well done. It's the beating heart and soul of Pragmata, and I feel like if that one bit was not done right, the entire story would just be just like, all right, you know, like it is what it is. There wouldn't be much to get invested in. So the writers did a very great job with their relationship and making it one that you would get invested in very easily, very quickly. I loved all their banter that they did throughout the story as you're going through each level and all. And then I like how when you are in your shelter hub that you have throughout the game, there are things that you could find in each of the sectors on the space station, where it's like, oh, there's this thing, and it's like it creates a digital version of it that, or like maybe more like it recreates a version of it for Diana to like interact with in the shelter. So that might be like a TV or a slide or water guns or something like that. And you know, when you fill out the shelter with these things, Diana can go and play with them, and like she'll interact with them, and it opens up different conversation things for you all to have, and like different discussions for you all to have at the shelter, which is cool. And like whenever you give a new one to her, she like has this just adorable reaction, or just like a kind of like a confused reaction. She tries to like understand what it is. You all could play like hide and seek in the shelter, which is very funny. Like her hiding spots are never all that good. But I remember one time she was like, yeah, I'm gonna hide somewhere you really won't be able to find me. And I turned around, like she was literally directly behind me. I had me burst out laughing. I was like, all right, Diana, like you said you're gonna pick something like really good now. Like that was right behind me. But those little moments right there. And then also like when you're talking to her in the shelter, sometimes she'll say, oh look, I have something for you, and like she will have done like a drawing for you. And just those moments, they're small, they're short, but they leave such a strong impact on you, and they have a strong impact on me. And it reminded me so much of when my brother himself was younger and like in her age, and also when I worked with kids back in the day, and just how, as stressful as young kids can be, how adorable and wholesome and fun it could be, just, having these like heartwarming moments with them. So I loved all of that about the story. It was very, very good on that front. I do have to say, Pragmata is also a fairly short game. Surprisingly to me, I didn't expect it to be, but I wasn't mad at it. Going through the campaign, doing a fair bit of exploration as well, took me about 10 hours or so, going through the main story, doing minor exploration, doing some side stuff as well, like seeing a lot of the content the game had. Only took me about 10 hours, sorry. It took me about 10 hours. And I also did like some side content in terms of like these optional training challenges you could do. So I was very happy with that. I like that because, Death Stranding 2 has been a long game, so it's nice to have a shorter game to get through in this period right here. But there's still plenty of other side content to do. There's, other little things that you could find in the world, other collectibles that you could find, and there's a litany of other challenges as well that I have not done yet. And after you finish the game, you unlock New Game Plus, you unlock a harder difficulty, and you unlock like a post-game thing where it's like, all right, you could go to this other section of the space station that gets opened up after you beat the game, and that unlocks its own set of challenges that are basically require you to more or less 100% each area of the game. You go 100% each area, and you beat the boss that is now stronger in each area, and then that unlocks 2 challenges that correspond with that sector of the world. It's called Unknown Signal, I started working my way through it. I'm about 50% of the way through Unknown Signal. It's cool, nothing too crazy, and I think like the only real reward you get for doing it is just some cosmetics for Hugh and Diana. I think there's also like a mod in there that you can get for your character, and I think there's another weapon in there too. So that'll be cool to have if I ever complete it and finish all that for like a new game plus, to be able to use it in that with the harder difficulty and all. Now, the other key thing about Pragmata that's been like, one of its defining factors has been the combat and how it mixes third-person shooting with this like hacking mini game and all. And like I said, when I first played the demo back in October, I thought the combat was very cool, and the hacking mini game, it takes a moment to get it, but it is very intuitive and it works really well and adds a fun wrinkle to things, and it makes combat more engaging than it would be otherwise. And that is still the case here in the full game. Throughout the entire game, the combat, it never gets boring, or it never got boring for me. It was continuously engaging, constantly just exciting, intense, and stressful in a good way, not necessarily in a bad way, because the game just continued to add more depth to it as I progressed through the game. All the enemies are not just like easy with the hacking. Some enemies have shields that they put up that you have to eliminate first before you're able to hack them, because with the shield up, you can't hack them at all. There are some enemies that have like this dead filament on them that you can try and hack them while it's on them, but if you do so, there are nodes on the hacking grid that like you'll get like stunned on. If you go on them, it slows you down. There are some enemies with like these large hacking grids that you have to navigate that you can try and auto hack your way through, you can try and manually get through it, or you can use this weapon, I forgot what it's called, that the sticky bombs, where if you use the sticky bombs on them, every sticky bomb that lands shrinks the grid some to make it more manageable to get through. So that's cool too. And then there are also different nodes that you can have on the hacking grid to enhance your hacks, such as the multi-hack option or the freeze option, which freezes enemies when you complete a hack if you use this node, or the heat option, which increases their overheat level for them, or the heal option, which will heal you a little bit when you complete a hack after using this node. And there are many others as well. So all of these things, they just make the hacking more engaging. It adds more depth to it. It does a lot to help Pragmata stand out from other sci-fi shooters. It keeps it from getting old. And again, like I said, it keeps the combat also like challenging throughout the entire game, because it's never easy. Like, it is very stressful to try and complete a hack while also dodging attacks and like prioritizing the various enemies that you have coming at you and all. It is stressful, but in a good way, because it kept me on my toes, it kept me engaged, it kept battles tense, and it kept things challenging from start to finish. It was never a case where it was like, oh, this is a breeze, this is easy. Like, of course, there were some fights that were easy just because I was able to get through them fairly easily, but like, there's still a level of challenge in every single fight that never really goes away. And I greatly appreciated that. I played the game on normal difficulty. I mean, when you first start the game, all you have are basically easy and normal. You don't get like a hard difficulty until you finish the game. But still, playing on normal, it was a fairly challenging game throughout the entire story, start to finish. So that was really cool. That was a lot of fun. And again, you also have the different weapons that are there too. You have like, your standard pistol, which eventually becomes an assault rifle. You have your power weapons, so like a shotgun or a charge rifle or like a laser weapon. You have your tactical weapons, so like a stasis net, where when you shoot it down, any enemies that go inside it, they get stunned and frozen there for a bit. There's like this blaster weapon that knocks anyone that in its radius like down onto the ground for a while. The sticky bombs that I mentioned before. Then there's also like your defensive units, which is like you have like a decoy grenade or a shield barrier that you could put up around yourself, or like these drones that you can summon. A lot of cool stuff. And you do have to be careful with how you balance these weapons, because these weapons, you're like these the power units, the tactical ones and the defensive ones, they have limited uses. You only have a limited amount of them on your person at any point in time, whereas your standard unit, your primary unit, which is your pistol or the assault rifle, that has unlimited ammo. It only has to like reload or recharge itself once you run out. But all the other weapons, they don't. Like, once you use all its ammo, it's gone until you find another one to fill the slot. So you do have to be a bit careful, and again, that adds to the balance of being being smart and strategizing how you work in fights and how you use your hacks in fights and how you could go about taking down enemies in fights. I do wish though that like the reload time for your primary weapon was just a hair faster, especially for the assault rifle, because the pistol has 7 bullets, the assault rifle has like 22 bullets, and it is annoying to run out of bullets and then like have to wait quite a bit for it to refill enough to like fire again and have it be worth it. And this is especially true when you're like also trying to save your other weapons for certain enemies that you know are going to be coming down the pipeline and stuff. So that was a bit annoying, especially since also like you don't get a mod to increase like to do anything with the reload speed or reload time for your primary weapon until you finish the game, and then you're doing this post-game content or new game plus stuff. So like for your main playthrough, it is a bit annoying, but you know, it's still manageable. It's not the worst thing in the world. I did like though that when you were in the shelter, you know, in your hub area, you're able to, you know, you can, you know, do your character building, so upgrading your stats, upgrading your different weapons and hacks and everything like that. But you could also like choose your loadout that you go into each level with. So you could choose which weapons that you want to have on you, which mods you want to have on you, which hacking nodes you want to at least start the level with. It was cool. That was nice. And then it also plays into the level design too, because levels, they are linear. This is a very linear game, and although that's the case, there are many different like checkpoint style spots where you can find it, you can open it up and then return to the shelter mid-level, restock and resupply, then go back and continue from there. Doing that respawns all the enemies that you've defeated, but it's still very nice to have that like mid-level break multiple times in a level and like be able to reassess things and re-progress from there. That's cool. Also, speaking of the level design, like I said, they are linear levels, but they do have like enough branching paths to, you know, make them feel more open than they are and make it feel like you're exploring a wider area than you actually are, that you have more freedom than you do. And even the branching paths, they're linear too, but like they're often teased while you're on the main path. So like you might be on the main path and then you see something, you're like, all right, I see that that item is there, I must be able to get there somehow, I'll figure out how to get there. Just like that, seeing that like through the wall type thing makes the spaces feel a bit bigger than they are. It makes it feel like, all right, there's some way I gotta get there, which is nice. And then, you know, those branching paths that when you eventually end up on them and all, they might lead to a secret challenge of some sort, or an enemy that you have to fight, or like some type of collectible or chest that you could open up that gets you some good stuff. And then they also smartly loop back onto the main path too, so you never ever really feel like you're getting lost when you are going off the beaten path of Pragmata. It's really smart level design. I really enjoyed it. So overall, I really dug Pragmata. It is definitely a highlight. I would highly recommend it to anyone who's looking for a new game to play, especially if you're looking for a short, you know, big budget game to play, like AAA game to play. Pragmata definitely fits the bill. It is a great game. If I was to have given it a formal review, probably would have scored this game like an 8.5, maybe. Wouldn't go any higher than that. Pragmata is a great game. You should definitely play it. It is well worth your time. And, you know, especially if you're one of those people who likes to play games more than once and like try and see like, all right, how can I do this better or that better? I want to do this fight better at all. Like, I feel like it has a lot of meat on the bones for you to chew on there. So Pragmata, highly recommend it. Good game, great game this year. I wouldn't be surprised if I end up seeing it in some GOTY conversations at the end of the year. Would I put it there? Probably not, but you never know. Either way, that was a good one. Game number 2 for me this month is going to be Tamashika. This game, indie game here, developed by Quick Tequila, and I don't really know where to start with this one. This is one hell of a game. First off, shout out to Barrett Courtney from Kinda Funny, because I saw him post about this game a few weeks ago over on Blue Sky, and the trailer just caught my eye, and I was like, what is this game? I want to play it. So what is this game? Really quickly, before I show any footage, I'm going to give this warning because I feel it would be irresponsible for me not to. Epilepsy warning. If you are prone to epilepsy or, you know, anything in that regard, maybe just like jump ahead to the Death Stranding section, or maybe watch a trailer for the game first before you decide to like watch the gameplay I'm gonna put here, because Tamashika has a lot of bright lights, a lot of flashing stuff going on, quick flashes and everything, and I do not want anything to happen to you. The game also, when you start it up, it gives you a warning like, hey, epilepsy warning. Make sure you play this game in a lit space, well lit space, a proper distance from the screen because of this epilepsy warning and stuff. So all that said, all that out the way, I'm gonna start putting footage of the game on the screen now. You've been warned, and here we go now with the footage of the game. Tamashika is basically a fast-paced acid trip of an arcade shooter that is as punishing and demanding as it is fair and fun. You have your pistol and a knife for parrying. And levels basically consist of you going through them as quickly as you can, shooting and stabbing your way to the end as you try to stay alive and just make it to the end in one piece. The game really does not do much in the way of teaching or explaining things to you. You start the game and it starts with these levels called Awaken, which are basically your training levels. They get you to grips with the mechanics, how to play the game. The right trigger is to shoot, the left trigger is for your parrying, the Y button is for reloads. Side note, I played on the Switch 2. I don't think there's a Switch 2 version. There's only a Switch version, but played on the Switch 2. So the Y button is your reload. And then beyond that, those are really the only controls that you need to have, that you need to know. It's the only buttons you have to be pressing in this game at all. Beyond that, a lot is left for you to figure out through experience. Like, the game does teach you, hey, pay attention to the walls, because the walls show you how much energy you have before you desynchronize and like have to restart. But past that, it's like, yeah, good luck, figure it out. So there are things like how with your gun, as you're getting shots, as you're popping off shots on enemies with your gun, every shot that you land, the sound rings up a bit, so like bing, 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 to indicate, all right, you're going on a streak with your gun. And the better your streak is with your gun, the longer you'll have to go before you have to reload. And not having to reload will get you a pretty good score, like a nice high score of sorts. But it's a thing that you only pick up on as you play and go through runs and do more and more and more. Also, like, timing your shot just right on enemies with shields will kill them and spawn a heart for you to use, giving you an extra life to have when you're in a run. Again, not a thing the game teaches you at all. It's just a thing that you have to pick up on your own as you play through the game. So you start with those Awaken levels. Then you get to the Ascend levels, and the Ascend levels are essentially part of this game's like real cool hook, real interesting hook here. The Ascend levels are basically your level of the day. So this level changes daily. So whatever the level is today, Monday as of recording, is not what the Ascend level is going to be tomorrow. Tomorrow is going to be a completely different level once it hits midnight. That's the same for Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, so on and so forth. So every day of the month, there's a brand new Ascend level. Now, once you get to the weekend, you are then able to play all prior Ascend levels that have been out so far. As of right now, of course, we're only in April, so there are not too many that are out right now. But nevertheless, it's still a really cool hook, still interesting hook right there. Now, the Ascend levels, you get 3 lives to go through the entire level. And the entire level is really broken up into like 7 segments. And a good run can take you maybe 3 minutes or so to get through it, but it's a tough 3 minutes, let me say that much. Dying at any point in time during an Ascend level will send you back to the start of the most recent segment that you reached. But if you die after running out of your lives, and again, you have 3 lives, if you die after running out of all 3 of your lives, you then have to start from the very beginning of that Ascend level, from the very, very start of it. So again, it is punishing. It causes you It requires you to learn the levels, learn the enemy layouts, learn the placements, learn some of the tricks that the levels have in store for you in terms of navigation and what you need to do. Because you might pop a balloon that sends you flying forward, and then after you do that, it automatically has an enemy right there that pops a shot on you. You have to be ready to parry it. But you might not know about that the first time you get to it. So once you find out, all right, you got to prepare yourself for that the next time you get around to it. It's punishing, again, like I said, it is punishing and demanding, but it is very fair and very fun. Like, it tells you, it lays out the rules for you. You learn the rules through experience. You learn the rules of engagement. And as you learn, you have to like lock it in your head and be like, all right, this is what's required of me now. Here's how I have to counteract that. Here's why I have to get ahead of that. Here's how I have to know to pop my shot as soon as I turn the corner. There's going to be an enemy here and here. I need to go into the room and pow pow and shoot up at this balloon to also give myself a bit more time before my energy desynchronizes and all. It's intense. It's a lot of fun. The transcend levels now, after you do your ascend level, you have your transcend level. The transcend level is basically the exact same as the current ascend level, except that transcend, you only get one life. So if you die at any point during the transcend level, you are sent all the way back to the beginning. And the transcend levels are basically, you could think of them as like the competitive speed run mode, and it has its own leaderboards for the level that is going on there. And the transcend mode is like a huge draw here. So once you get to the transcend version of the level, the ascend version with your 3 lives basically becomes practice for you to work on improving your transcend run. Since you have your multiple lives, since you can choose a specific segment you want to work on. So say for example, segments 1 through 3 you're good on, but segment 4 you kind of like barely get through it by the skin of your teeth. Segments 5 and 6 you're fine with those. Then the segment 7 you're also good on, so you only want to practice segment 4. You can go into ascend, go to segment 4 and practice on that one. That way for your transcend run you can get through it much easier. It's cool. Now, I played Tamashika for about 2.5 hours yesterday. This is the game that I squeezed in because I wanted to get it in this video. Now, when you start the game, again, they say to only play at like 20-30 minute intervals and to take frequent breaks. My first time playing, I played for 2 hours straight. And might not have been the best idea because it's a very stimulating game, as you can see on the screen. Very stimulating, perhaps even overstimulating. Like I said, this is one hell of an acid trip game right here. It is wild, the visuals that are going on here, just how fast everything's happening, what's coming at you at any one moment in time. There's a lot going on. I could easily see some people possibly getting motion sickness from this game because of the speed of everything. And after, like, as I neared the end of that 2-hour session that I was doing at the start of the day yesterday, I felt like I might have been getting a bit of motion sickness myself. And after I took my break and all, it definitely went away. The feeling was gone. I had a snack and everything. But man, I gotta say, as stressful as this game is, it's a lot of fun if you can handle it. Like, this is not a game where, you know, you're gonna get an easy mode. This is not a game where it will bend over for you. It is a game that demands that you meet it where it is asking you to meet it. You need to meet it at its level. And you need to, you know, I hate to say this, but it's the thing where, you know, you kind of have to get good to be at, you know, the level that Tamashika demands of you and requires of you. This is a game that requires your full attention when you are playing it. You can't play this while also doing something else or like listen to music or watch a stream. No, you got to be locked in on Tamashika, because if you're not, you're just gonna have a bad time. You're gonna be getting killed and dying over and over and over again. But when I say that it is such a good game and so much fun, it is a lot of fun. It is immensely rewarding to get to the end of a run on Ascend and be like, I finally got through. Oh man, I finally got through that section. I finally got through this level. Or to even do it on Transcend and be like, oh geez, I finally managed to do this in one life, no deaths at all. It is such a rewarding feeling. It is so exciting. So just like, yes, I did that. So I felt so accomplished when I did it. I really enjoy this game. This is a game that I could definitely see myself jumping into, you know, at the end of the day, maybe, you know, it's like, all right, I just want to play something real quickly, pop it off in maybe half an hour or so, go through it, ascend run, maybe try doing a transcend run of a level, and then that being my day, that being my night with it. And then on the weekends, trying out all the other different levels that I might have missed out on. It's just, Tamashika is a very fun game. I highly recommend it. If you are into this sort of game, if you are into these types of arcade corridor shooters, this very high intensity, high stakes type of game right here, I think this will be a game for you. You will highly enjoy it. I would imagine as much. If I was to put a score on this, I would also put this as like a 8.5. It is a lot of fun. It might seem bare bones when you first play it, but get to the weekend, you'll have far more levels to play with and everything. And even just on a daily basis, just that thrill of just one more run. I could do this one better. I could do it better. I could get to the end. I could get to the end without having to reload. I could get to the end with only minimal reloads. I could get to the end with this score. I could do this now. I could do that now. I can perfect this. Like, I could see, like, for the speed runners, this game is probably going to be a speed runner's dream. So Tamashika, highly recommend if you have not played it already. Give it a shot. $20. I got it on the Switch too, on the Switch eShop. It's a fun game. Go play it if you have not already. The last game of this video is going to be Death Stranding 2, and yes, we are finally done with Death Stranding 2 at long last. Finally finished the story after 107 hours of gameplay, and man, I loved this game to death. It was just so much fun, and the only reason I even finished it when I did is because there were other games coming up I wanted to play, like Pragmata, Sorrows in a couple days, and I knew couldn't be here forever. I had to finish it up. But man, 107 hours, and this game is so damn good. I will be talking story spoilers in this video, so if you have not finished the game, you can bow out at this point. Hope you enjoyed the video. Like, share, subscribe, notifications, all that jazz. If you don't care about spoilers, or if you already have finished the game, you want to hear my thoughts, stick around. But for those who are about to jump on out, I did enjoy this game, really liked it. If they do a third one, I'm all here for it. If they don't do another one, they can totally end things here. Now, getting into spoilers here. Tomorrow being Sam's daughter was a really cool twist, even if it was not too surprising. I did like that twist, and the twist was made even better after finding out that she was actually Lou, and how Fragile saved for Lou by sending her to that land of the dead that we had gone to before in the first Neil sequence, and she like kind of lived there and grew up there. Like, that was actually a really cool twist. I liked that, and it really brought the whole Lou Sam thing full circle in a really nice way. Die Hardiman being Charlie was not surprising at all in the slightest bit. The game could not have been more obvious about it from the very start of the game, but it was still awesome to see him return in the flesh. And his dance number and interpretation of BB's theme was absolutely ridiculous. In a good way, though. It was ridiculous in a very enjoyable way, to say the least. Also, speaking of, the twist with APAS was pretty interesting. Even if I kind of understand it, I only kind of understand it. If I'm right, basically there was a void out, and APAS was the server, the AI server that was there at the time, and it being AI was basically like the inverse of Ultron from Age of Ultron, where Ultron was like, yeah, nah, humans gotta go. APAS was like, nah, humans gotta live, so we're just gonna basically try and connect the whole world together, then force humans to basically live in bunkers. They won't need to go on out. We'll start their evolution, and then they will never, the last stranding won't happen. If I'm right, that was what APAS's goal was. Interesting twist. Was not expecting that at all. Fragile being dead the whole time was also very unexpected. That hit hard. Even if like near the end, like giant red flags and like death flags were like screaming over her. Didn't expect her death to be the way it was. That hit hard for sure. Neil's story, also sad. I did like his character. Don't have too much more to say about him than that though. Beyond that, the ending itself was great. And I do like how it ends with Tomorrow becoming a porter herself and getting ready to go on through the next through another plate gate to go reconnect to the continent. that was dope. I loved how it comes full circle. So again, if we are going to get a third game, that seems like the very obvious next step. We play as tomorrow, connecting a different place. We have her powers at our disposal. That'll be cool. And if we don't continue and this is where things end, this is the perfect ending. A nice closing of the book, leaving the door open, but you know, like the whole optimistic possibilities of the future. I love that right there. Very, very beautiful ending right there for the game. In terms of gameplay things that I was doing near the end, I did not go as hard on building up relationships with the various characters I had. I did try and get everyone that I had unlocked up to at least 3 stars at that point in the story. I think there's only 2 points on the map that I didn't open up or connect to the Cairo network. One of them being Mr. Impossible, who I found the base, just never connected them. And then there's another one that's like nearby Terminal Fort Knot that I didn't connect. Just never got over there to it. As for the different people you can meet, the adventurer, he can kiss my ass. He's not bad, but he's annoying because it's like, dude, like I just saved you and like 5 minutes later you out like stuck in the worst possible place. Come on now, like what are we doing here? That was so annoying, so frustrating. I really wanted to just like leave him behind at some points, but I was like, no, I'm trying to be a good person and save people and do the right thing. But gosh, he was so annoying. He would be the first person I leave behind. You know, I also didn't go too hard on like building out roads and stuff, but I did upgrade most of the roads that were in the first 2 areas of the game. So they were level 2 roads, which is awesome for me and everyone else that was playing on my server. I also made some really smart zipline paths in the mountains too for some easy traversals. So like I made zip lines leading from the Eastern Distribution Center all the way to the Adventurer and then all the way up to like the Eastern Environmental Observatory. So that was good. And I also made zip lines from like halfway to the Chronobiologist through the BT zone that's there in the Snowy Mountains and then also like down the mountain leading to the BT zone near the Ghost Hunter. So that was cool stuff as well. I always loved zip lines. They are so convenient, so goddamn convenient. And then just other notable things that happen. Number 1, the first mission where you're introduced to the EX capture grenades was a doozy for me because I completely skipped and circumvented the tutorial boss you were supposed to use the EX capture grenade on, and then ended up only getting to the part where it's like, yeah, now you have to fight 3 of these bosses at once in this fairly small area, and it's like, bruh, what is even happening here? I was like, this mission sucks so much. How am I supposed to practice with it in this circumstance? This is not good. This is not fun. Come to find out, like 20 minutes later, oh wait, I completely skipped the single boss I was supposed to use it on so that I could use the capture grenade against the 3 of these enemies here. So that was a doozy. But when I did use the EX capture grenade, that was one of the coolest things I have ever experienced in the Death Stranding series point blank period. I used it in the Ghost Hunter mission with the moving house, so where you basically fight like the giant hand spider BT. Just summoning the BT and then the Gogeta music playing in the background, or the Gogeta-esque music playing in the background. I'm just witnessing a kaiju film homage here, and it was glorious and so goddamn cool. It's so just freaking awesome. Like, Kojima, you are the man. Loved that, and I love how like he also retweeted my tweet posting that scene. Just like, oh, that was so cool. So cool. I love Death Stranding 2. I loved this game so damn much. I deleted it off the system simply for space purposes, but I can easily see myself putting it back on the system once I have more space, and I know I will have more space for a while, and it just being a comfy game where I go in and do more deliveries, do more jobs, do more upgrades, do more building things. Just a nice, casual, cozy game. All that said though, those are the games that I've played for the month of April. This has been our April gaming check-in. Another hearty episode. Next month for May, I imagine we will have Soros to talk about in that video. We will have Forza Horizon 6 to talk about in that video. Those 2 for sure will be there. I'm not sure what the 3rd game will be. If there will be a 3rd, it might just be those 2, which I'd be fine with. We'll see what happens. But nevertheless, you at least have those 2 games to look forward to me talking about in the next episode of Gaming Check-In. All that said though, thank you all so very much for checking into the video, checking into this, the channel. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you enjoyed the discussion. Let me know what you think of any of these games that you have played. If you've played them, down in the comment section below. And if you haven't played them, let me know if you are interested in them down in the comment section below. Leave a like on this video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe to the channel if you have not already. And hit the notification bell. That way you know as soon as new videos go live. My name is Tyler. This has been The Comfy Spot. And we'll talk next time. Have a good one.